Welcome to Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, back again with my special guest co-host, Michael. And today we're going to be talking about the 13th Amendment and the abolishing of the 13th Amendment in Tennessee in November during the midterm elections. We got an election for governor in Tennessee. They're going to be voting on Amendment 3, whether to abolish the 13th Amendment in the state or not. And for those of y'all that don't know, the 13th Amendment is what allows slavery to continue. It says that in the issues of when it comes to crime, slavery still exists. Slavery and involuntary servitude in the state of Tennessee. And it says that in the federal constitution as well, right? So anyway, let me allow Michael to say a few words, and then we're going to jump right into that issue of the 13th Amendment and how it's going to affect people, how we think it's going to affect people in prison. Go ahead, Michael.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm back for another episode. I'm glad to be with you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a very deep conversation we need to have in society today, you know, because as the book that we read, Slavery by Another Name, you know, it goes deeper than what this is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with that, right? But like I said, Amendment 3 is on the ballot, y'all, out there in Tennessee. So if you're gonna vote in that issue, don't forget now, you have to vote for governor. One way or the other. You vote for who you want to, but you have to vote for governor for your vote to count when it comes to Amendment 3 in Tennessee, okay? But anyway, if you vote yes, that means you want to abolish it. If you vote no, that means you want to keep it in place, right? We're hoping that you vote yes to get rid of it. Now, if they change that, what does that mean? Or what do you think that means for people that are incarcerated? Because from what I read, the Department of Corrections, they advocated, they they were successful in getting the lawmakers to make sure that there was an exception in that said that people in prison would still have to work, right? Now, I read something that said that, you know, that's gonna muddy the waters, you know what I'm saying, as far as, you know, how they're gonna make us work if the 13th Amendment is abolished in Tennessee and so on and so forth. But what do you think about that, Mike?
Well, you know that I guess it was during the 2016 presidential campaign when Hillary Clinton said something about warehousing people and prison for profit. Yeah. That's all it is.
Prison for profit.
Prison for profit.
So do you think that if they abolish the 13th Amendment in Tennessee, do you think that they should have to pay us minimum wage? Do you think that we will be paid minimum wage? What do you think about that?
I don't think they will get the minimum wage because the amount, they'll say that they can't afford it. They can't afford to give us minimum wage for these jobs that we have. But on the other hand is, if it passes and it says that you can't make us work anymore, you're going to have to hire people to come in and do the jobs we're doing now.
Right. But like I said, the Department of Corrections, they campaigned real hard and got that section left in there or put in there that said that this did not mean that we wouldn't have to work. We're going to have to see how that works its way through the courts, because I really believe that if they take that foundation away, that 13th Amendment away, I just don't see how they could legally make us work in a job paying us the amount of monies that they pay us. I just don't see that. Could they write us up and punish us? Yeah, but do you get to do that with somebody that, a civilian, somebody that hasn't been convicted of a crime? If they don't want to go to work, they just get fired from the job.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? That's it. So just fire me from the job. You can't, and if you don't want me here, kick me out. I'll be glad to be kicked out. You feel what I'm saying? You kick me out anytime you want to.
Kick
you know
me
what I'm
out.
saying? And then I go get me another job. You know what I mean? I'll find one that I want to work at. But I'm trying to understand all these complexities, because I've heard a lot of guys, they're just waiting to see how this plays out, because if they abolish the 13th Amendment in Tennessee, I just don't see how they're going to continue to be able to run prisons the way they do. We do all of the work.
All of it.
We do all of the work. And I think it's going to take some forward-thinking administrators from the governor on down to see this system in a new way. And I think that's what's coming. I don't think a lot of people understand that. But this is a big deal. This is a big step towards making the prison system one that is beneficial for victims as well as the perpetrators. You understand what I'm saying?
And that's one of the things that they would probably do. If they gave us more money, that money would go into a victim's fund. It would go to that fund.
And it should. You should have to pay
you should most definitely
compensation to your victims and their family and the system and all of that, right? But I don't think that you should be forced. I don't think, because if you haven't changed, you haven't changed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you don't want to change, that's between you and the Most High or whatever you believe.
Because in my case, what I would have done, if I would have been making that money when we first came to prison, when my victims were children, they wouldn't have had to struggle. They would have got that money from me.
Yeah,
they would have had more money from me. It would have
right.
been like child support.
Right.
Just like I want to say some state or someone was trying to pass a thing about, it was in Tennessee it may have been, about passing something about, I think if a DUI crash and you kill somebody, you have to pay child support to
Tennessee.
Yeah, so
It's in Tennessee.
So I don't have a problem with that because I took a father from his kids, you know, and so I have to be their provider now. I took that on with what I did.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I'm in here for murder as well, and I think that I should have to pay compensation to the families. You know what I'm saying? But in doing that, I believe that I should be able to have a job that will allow me to do that.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? I need a job that will allow me to do that. I think that is part of paying back your debt, paying your debt to society.
Exactly.
We are crippled from being able to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's really a big problem that we have, not just in Tennessee, but nationwide. You know what I mean? Yes, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
So I'm a different animal.
Okay.
I'm gonna work. So I pray all the time that there's never a sit down because I want to go to work. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. You know, in prison, you have to conform to what the people are doing. If everybody's sitting down, you can't go to work.
Yeah, go at your own risk, because go at your own risk, because they're gonna be looking at you like, okay, you playing like that. Now I ain't gonna always be here to protect you now. So when you come in from work, they're gonna be looking at you like, you. It's kind of like when you break the picket line out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go on to work you want to, but the consequences in here a little bit more severe. So they ain't worrying about this throwing no eggs at your house. They trying to break your legs in here if you cross that line. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe that a lot of people are not taking this issue as serious as it is. Right? I think that if you're doing this for window dressing, look, for whatever reason you're doing it, but if you're doing it for window dressing and thinking that you're going to continue to be able to run prisons and treat prisoners the way that you do, you really don't understand how intricately woven that 13th Amendment is in the way that they run prisons. We have absolutely no say over anything dealing with our person. The governor, the state of Tennessee, basically owns us. You feel what I'm saying? Do we have certain rights? Yes, of course we do. But if they come in and they tell us to get up out the bed, come outside and sit down in your t-shirts, socks, and boxers, that's what we have to do.
And I think that the 13th Amendment ties in with reform.
Yeah.
It ties in with reform because like I said on the episode before, that an officer may treat me a certain way. I may get upset about it, but I'm not the average person that's in here. They might get mad and do something about it. Me, I'm holding that in to remind myself to not come back to this. Right. So with that being said, the reformation and reform in this slavery, if you take that out and they have to treat us like human beings, when a person's treated like a human being, a good worker, a happy worker is a good worker.
Absolutely.
So if you treat people right, they're gonna do right.
Right.
So the thought of, they're laying back watching cable TV or they're doing this and that in prison.
Yeah.
Okay, we're still away from society. That's the punishment.
Yeah.
So we're not sent to be slaves because, as it said in the book that we read about that they just adapt. Oh well, don't worry about it. We'll just do this. Just because they abolished the slavery.
We'll write another little that will allow us to continue to do this.
Yeah, we'll do it another way.
They always find a way to exercise those demons. You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I think like I said before, I fundamentally, not just for people that are in prison, but people that run the prison, I fundamentally believe that most people are good people, man. That's just me. You know what I mean? But this 13th Amendment has allowed a lot of people that have that streak of evil in them to exercise those demons. And once they do away with that, they're not going to be able to hide behind that anymore and treat us any kind of way in the name of the law. You feel what I'm saying? If they have to treat us like human beings, they're going to have to retrain some of these people and teach them how to interact with us, because they have driven, pounded, and conditioned these people that work in these places to see us a certain way. And oh my God, what they're going to have to do to get people to see us in a way that they see their neighbors out there on the street, that's going to take a monumental effort. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think it's worth it. I think it'll be good. But at the same time, you know, what responsibility do we have when they change? I'm gonna say when. I'm not gonna say if. When they change that, what responsibility do we have to when it comes to this 13th Amendment being changed? How do you see us on this side? How should we go about acting once they change?
For us,
yeah,
that do right, I say that we continue to live our lives the way we live our lives, but we need to demand the change for, like I said earlier, we demand the change to be treated like human beings. That's what it all boils down to.
You just made me think. I wonder if we could form a union. You know, I'm just thinking about that, right? I wonder if we could form a union and say, look, we want better treatment. I'm here to be punished. That's why I'm here. I'm separated from society. I'm put in prison. I'm here to be punished. Now, all of this other stuff that you're doing, the judge has said nothing about this.
Exactly.
Society said nothing about this. They don't even know how we're treated for the most part. You feel me? You are sent to prison because you broke such and such law. Now, all of the other stuff that comes along with that, who said that? Who came up with that?
Because as Professor King said in one of the classes, that we were sent here for penance. That's where penitentiary came from, was penance. You were to do repentance. You were supposed to repent. So that's what we should be doing instead of being punished. It's not the Department of Punishment. It's the Department of Corrections. So we need to have it some other kind of way besides this indentured slavery. You know, it's just not working. It won't work.
It should be done in a different way.
In a different way.
Right.
Like you said, I know that I'm being punished for what I did. And I know what I did was wrong, and I know that I should have came to prison. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that.
Right. But the punishment is the separation from society.
It's exactly it.
It's not all of this other stuff when an officer says, you know, you got to pull this grass up by your hands instead of getting the lawnmower to do it.
Yeah.
That's not the punishment. The punishment is not an officer coming by and saying that you got to stand up at this door so I can count you until I finish. You know what I mean?
At 5 o'clock in the morning.
At 5 in the morning, at 2 a.m. in the morning. Yeah. Those are extra things. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. You can't take a shower. You can't do this. You can't do that. And knowing that stuff is not in the rule book, but nobody would really get down on them because they've been trained not to see us as human. So if you're not seen as human, you're seen as a dog, an animal, right? Well, I can't even say that because they treat animals better than they treat us.
Of course they do.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to just say it
you
like
can't
that.
leave a dog in a hot car.
No, you can't do it. You're going to jail.
But we left in a hot van when we go to court or something.
Well, then that's what they say. Well, you deserve that. Yeah. This is part of this. It kills me when I hear people say, this is part of being in prison.
No, it's not.
Nah. But it's accepted. Society accepts that. You feel what I'm saying? Society says this is okay. Society says this is okay. If you go to prison and you're raped, society says, well, that's what it's like in prison.
Shouldn't have committed a crime.
Yeah. Whatever happens to us in prison, they always fall back and say, well, you're an inmate.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have did it. Whatever happened to you, happened to you.
And me, I'm not an inmate. I'm not a convict.
No, I don't do none of that.
I am a prisoner because I'm being held against my will.
Yeah, I don't do none of that. Yeah, I don't subscribe to any of those labels, man, because to me those are slave labels, and I'm not a slave. My name Joe. My mom and daddy named me Joe.
An inmate is not on my birth certificate.
What you said, right? I just wanted to touch on that real quick, man, and see what you thought about it, man. And we'll pick up on this again after November, you know what I'm saying, if you're still here. But we'll pick up on that again, you know what I'm saying? And look here, I appreciate you doing this with me, man. As always, you know what I'm saying, this has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe, the Crime Critic. Peace, y'all.